This new moon is for the whole year, and it could actually affect up to 10 years from now. This one is big, okay? So pay attention, do the homework.
I would like to welcome everybody to Speaking with Kate. And we are here at this podcast for the new moon, which will actually be, oh, I did write this down. So it's actually tomorrow at 9:23 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So that would be Wednesday. And it's the last moon cycle of the winter season. And Friday, we have equinox. So it's the beginning of the spring session. And I understand it is also the end of Mercury retrograde. Yay!
Yes, hallelujah.
Yes, so I want to welcome Nikki and Carol and all our friends for being here with us. Well, what do we have going on aside from the things I just mentioned? We are in Mercury retrograde. What do we got going on astrology wise? We're leaving Pisces, right?
Yeah, that's a different screen. Let me pull that
Oh,
up.
well,
Uh,
you go ahead and take this one, girl.
but the thing is that even before I get into that, oh, it's just come up. Okay. Um, it's still a stellium, which, as I explained before, is anytime you have five planets or more in a clump together. And we have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven in a nice little array. And we are moving, like you said, we're moving out of Pisces. The sun is moving out of Pisces um, and going toward Aries. However, the thing that's so important is this stellium. We've been in it for a little while and we're still in it. So I'm really still saying the same thing I was saying before and that I have been saying for a couple of months. Hang on, grab the hand of anybody you know and care about and trust and just keep walking through it. Now, it would be very interesting to hear from those who are watching what has been going on in your life at this very, very momentous time because there are a lot of issues. For instance, one of the things we have is we have Mars in Pisces. Well, I can't think of anything that's less conducive to ho hum. I mean, Mars is the whole planet of let's go forward, quick, quick, act quickly. And Pisces is the opposite. It's the soft pillow bed where you're laying there saying, I don't really want to do anything right now. I just want to feel all warm and cozy and loved and caressed. And, it's that kind of difference. One is up and at 'em, that's the planet, but it's landed in a room full of pillows where the door is closed. You understand what I mean? And that is right next to where the sun is, and the sun is in that little quiet room too. And it likes to move forward.
Yeah.
So now the sign of the planet that's so caught up, the Mars planet has in its own sign, it has the planet of Neptune in Aries, in the very first degree of Aries. So Neptune is all of our illusions, our thoughts of fantasy. It's when we have flights of, thought where you're thinking you were supposed to be doing the dishes, but you're like, let's see. Now, yesterday I was thinking about such and such, or last night I dreamed about. Neptune is all about the world of softer illusions and picking up on a spiritual level and so forth. Now, to be perfectly honest, boy, have I been going through that. So I'm interested in what others are picking up from it because you've got this conflict of The you that wants to be all airy fairy, thinking about stuff, illusions and fantasies and dreams and so forth. But the you that has all of that stuff in your regular life that wants to push forward. It's a very, very, very masculine vibration right now. But the conflict is that the feminine vibes are just as strong at this moment. So you've got both things happening. The side of you that's very, very aggressive and kind of masculine feeling of push, push, push. But the other side of you that's, um, shall I say, the Venusian side of you, uh, I dare to say, because Venus is in there, but it's at the very top. Well, it's not the top. On the screen when this comes up, it looks like the top. But the deal is, it's the very last in the parade of everything moving forward. Like I said, this is a clump of 6 planets, and it's trailing at the end. But it's in the sign of aggression. So I don't know if you were able to follow what I was saying. The planet of aggression is in the sign of lay back and watch and fantasize and dream. The planet of all the beauty, all the art, all the, music, beauty, art. You want to sit back and listen to some sounds and just chill out. But it's the last thing, and it's fight. It's in the sign of the aggression. But the aggression is in the sign of chill out and lay back. Okay, so you have, out of the 6 planets, you have some very, very important ones like the sun and the moon and so forth. And then you have the others that are aggressive and, they're important planets, but they're a lot less than sun and moon, etc. So there's buddies that have taken sides. Out of these 6, let's say 3 of them are on one side of chill out. Oh, don't talk to me about the dishes. And the other side is, let's go. Let's get those dishes done because I want to leave the house. I got stuff to do. Now, in terms of your life, it could be just that simple. Or it could be also that you have some very aggressive things happening in your emotional life that have just popped up. That's that thing of the aggression being in the room with the soft pillows. It's all about what have you been feeling in yourself, the soft part of yourself, and the fact that these two issues are opposing each other. Okay, so this is a time when there are a lot of brand new things popping into into your world. You had not anticipated them. They're not necessarily bad. It's just stuff you had not anticipated dealing with right now. But it's not to be ignored. These things come up. In my own case, for instance, I don't have a bed to sleep in right now. I'm sleeping on the sofa because I literally don't have a bed. A friend of mine was going to flip it over for me. I thought that's what I needed. And it turns out that once we did that, it was so terrible I couldn't even sleep on it. So I had to admit, okay, I've got to get a new bed, and I have a big one. But before I can do that, the reason why I have to have a new one has to do with the way the bed is made, because we brought it from Greece. I've got to go first and order a plywood board to be put on top of these curved slats that the Greeks use. I've got to put a board across it before I put another mattress on. So before I can order the mattress, I have to get someone to come in and help me measure so I can have someone bring in a board, at which time I can then buy a big expensive mattress, and I will then have a bed to sleep on. But at the moment, I'm still dealing with an illness that won't allow me to do all that. So the first thing I have to deal with is the emotional issue of the medical condition and all that's going with that. And as you know, I'm now in my 7th week of dealing with that, which is why my voice sounds so funny, because I've got this little grabbing stuff going on in the abdomen. So it makes your voice sound like you're going, You're trying to speak. So, for everybody else, things that you plan to do have suddenly been sidetracked in certain strange little ways. It may not have cut off you doing it, but it means that when you do it, you have to deal with some things you didn't anticipate, like car trouble. And, it's, shall I say more, but you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, we get it.
Seems to be going fine, except the things that popped up demand that you deal with them. You can, but you hadn't anticipated it. And you can't ignore it because it's important. And eventually, once you deal, your life will go back to being relatively normal. We have to redefine normal right now as well. So, this is a time that is grabbing you by the throat saying, guess what? We're going to shake you up. And Mercury went retrograde just as it happened. So, as you said, we're glad to see Mercury retrograde stop messing up this very volatile picture that we're going through. This is a new moon, but it's a new moon amplified for all the rest that we have been through. It's a new moon, the likes of which we hadn't seen, because it's the beginning of a series of new moons. From here on out, each time it pops up, it's going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Everything now is changing very quickly. The changes that were coming have speeded up. And that means that we have to speed up in our awareness of jumping up to handle things. And that's the biggest awareness that you have to deal with right now. Whatever is going on, do not mess around, handle it. Because you don't have a lot of time moving forward. While you're moving forward, there are other things waiting to pop up as well. So you don't want them to stack, so to speak. All the little things you have to deal with, they will sit there and wait and stack up. And the new ones will pop up and more will pop up. And before you know it, you're feeling very overwhelmed, which is part of the environment that Mars in Pisces, for God's sake, is saying, hey, guess what? This is how it feels when you won't let me go do what I got to do. Nobody tells Mars the warrior not to go forward, and it's not telling it don't go forward in the usual way. It's locked it in a room full of pillows where he's standing there with a sword and all his stuff on, ready to go be a warrior. And you're talking to me about pillows and imagination? What are you thinking? Then he will start to slash whatever, the pillows, the whatever. He's going to break the door down. You see what I'm saying? That's that energy that's trying to move forward, but it's being, somebody's trying to put cuffs on it. It's got its arms behind it, and one arm is still holding the sword. You see what I'm saying? So that's I've tried to paint a picture of the frustration that's going on with this 6-planet stellium that happens to also be a new moon, having just followed Mercury retrograde and the eclipse.
I hear you.
Okay, so some people, for instance, if you have a nice quiet chart, it's not going to be that big a deal. But like me, I have a chart braced with drama. So don't give it the slightest little hint that it's okay to have drama right now. No, don't do that. Don't do it. That's what we're going through. Some of us have charts that have said we have chosen a road in life where we welcome challenges. And I know you can relate because you wouldn't be here if you didn't. That's who we are.
It sounds like all the people that really join us and watch this are in that same boat. And that's why we hold hands, we move forward, we don't look back, we don't look to the side, we just...
This is it, folks.
Yeah.
It's this particular new moon is calling our name. And it's saying, I bet you wonder why I called you together. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
because
that's
we
who
need
we
each
are.
other.
Yeah, we've been tagged.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
bunch of us who's trying to be aware on a certain level. Okay. Now, the astrology part has led me right up to my notes on what I was supposed to tell you about today. If you like, we can move on and I'll say all of that later. But whatever you'd like to do.
Well, first I'd like to welcome Martin, who popped on. So we're so glad to have you here, Martin. Hi, Martin.
Yeah. Hi, baby. And you've got your mic off.
Oh, he's on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm stirring thoughts. I'm trying not to make much noise.
Oh.
There you go. There you go. Okay. It's nice to see your face.
Absolutely.
I always look forward to that.
Yeah, likewise.
Where I was led to say, quote, the levels of awareness and wisdom. And it was all about understanding, especially I was dealing with some astrology at the time, and the explanation, the new thing that I was told was, don't forget to understand all of this within the context of all the different levels in life, all the different levels that people are on. Okay? What have I hit?
Well, you certainly have hit a nerve there.
Okay.
Carol and I talked about this morning. Yes.
Nerve is a bad word to me right now. Nerve.
Well, Carol is starting a new talk that's going to be every other Sunday evening, starting, what is it, Carol? Next Sunday, the Sunday after? 29th. 29th. And she's just going to have different topics, but that was one of her first topics, is the levels of awareness of she. Go ahead, Carol, you talk about it.
Well, I want to do a deep dive into facilitate a group, and I'm not married to any particular topics or anything like that. We can pick topics to talk about the next week. People can bring them up or whatever. But I started doing a mental exercise for myself about how would I want to deal with these topics in this group, just to prepare myself mentally. And I was thinking about the transformation game and the levels of in the transformation game. Yeah. And I was thinking about the concept. I picked a concept to play with in my mind, and it was unconditional love. And then I started thinking about, well, wait a minute, how do we perceive unconditional love at those various levels?
Right.
How do we experience it in the physical level? How do we experience it in the mental,
right.
And so on? And so I was talking to Kate about it, and that's really what that conversation was about. So
this is hilarious.
And you bring up the same concept, the same word.
Mean, I get this title, The Levels of Awareness and the Wisdom of it.
Yep.
Boy, we are really picking up on each other and grooving, I tell you.
Yep.
Well, mine was all about, as an astrologer, to be sure that I took in the level that a person was on, a client or whatever, and especially the fact that whatever spiritual advice you give, it has to be pre-chewed or whatever to give to the client who's going to take this in, because they are often dealing on a level that has, for instance, nothing to do with spirituality. A person who's not even interested in any of that. They have decided to take a life path that will deal with only certain things, and we have to suspend even the tiniest bit of judgment about them choosing that. If you're on this high spiritual level and you're dealing with all kinds of woo-woo and big miracles happen all the time and blah, 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 There are people who don't even have the word miracle in their life contract at all. And a very full life is lived where the biggest thing in their life is, ooh, there was a sale at the grocery store this week. I can make stuff I hadn't made before. Ooh, I'm going to save. Blah, blah, blah. And they're dealing on a totally material, physical level. The big deal is going to the PTA. Oh, wow, I went to a meeting this time and I actually talked to the advisory board. Wow, you know. So it's a whole different thing. Someone at the gas pump actually helped you out that day. You know, you had left the thing in and they pulled it out before you moved off in the car, etc. Wow, that was great. Somebody actually cared enough to save me from ripping my, gas thing on the back of the car. It's all about those levels being seen for what they really are. And once you understand that, you're not going to go to somebody who's on that totally physical level and you're going to have a long conversation about Bach and Beethoven. And I went to the opera last night, and the nuances of what happened when the music was played, they may have never heard any of it. So you can't discuss what was different about how it was being played this time. Both things are valid, but they don't include each other. So to progress in what I was saying, it said there are so many levels to the understanding of life and reality. What level are you on? Have you sat and contemplated it and tried to understand your own level? The answer to that question can be found in a realistic understanding of your spiritual state of mind. We are all so beautifully different. Many of us are on a level where we become deeply aware of the world of plants and minerals, etc., like gardens and growing, and deeply devoted to crystals of all kinds, but not in a metaphysical context. You might be into crystals because they're pretty rocks, and you like pretty stuff in your garden, etc., etc. Another level is concerned with the scientific realities of physics and mathematics and electronics and computing. Another level might be including a concept, a connection to the multiple beings that are here on earth, the light and the wisdom that they talk about. And on it goes, level after level. None of them are wrong. I will say that again. None of them are wrong. So, I want to ask you to take the time to examine your thoughts and all your heartfelt beliefs so that you gain more awareness of the platform that you're working from for your life and your goals. What do you love? What do you treasure? What do you break for? Ha ha. You have a type, as they say. And once you have even a clue what your particular base is, you can then more accurately search for those things that communicate in life with that realm you're in. You can search for wise people that share some of the knowledge they've gained. It could be your girlfriends that you used to talking to and sharing with and so forth. It might be your relatives. It might be your mom. It could be a certain teacher that you could actually groove to in school and you hated everything else. There are levels for everyone. And many of you know I'm so deeply devoted to Wisdom of Seth. I resonate with Burt Goldman, Silver Mine, and Bashar. From much earlier spiritual quest of mine are crystals, pyramids, incense, all that kind of stuff. Astrology, the tarot. And by the way, those last two are the very same thing. Astrology and the tarot are the same. We won't get into that. But that's just the foundation of my path. And that may or may not resonate with your path. So you may nod and smile at some of what I say, but there may also be gaping holes in what you understand and or agree with or even find interesting. You need to search for many points of view, search through them, and discover the one that's a better fit for you, because it's the whole end all and be all of progress that you want to make in life, the way that you're going to gain the stuff you're trying to get. It's all about, well, how will your manifestation be done? How can you accomplish it? It depends on where you're at, where you're starting from. So that's the gist of what we're about to step into. This new moon is for the whole year, and it could actually affect up to 10 years from now. This one is big, okay? So pay attention. Do the homework.
The other question I had, Mickey, was is Mars about not only problem solving? Is this an either or is this an all encompassing? You know how you set goals and want to accomplish them. So it's accomplishment and problem solving, or is it both of those that Mars is about, or is it Mars more?
The problem solving part of it's on you. Mars is pure, masculine, let's do it energy.
Okay. So
it's a weapon.
Too.
It's a weapon. He has a sword, and he's going to cut all the weeds in front of you as you go down the path.
Okay.
But because you know he has a sword, and he's all about push forward, it's the whole of the masculine energy. And as you know, everything physical illustrates the principle that's in it, that's making it true. So men have organs that push forward. Women, the moon, has organs that take in, they receive. Okay, and that's the main thing to think about with this, with Mars. And the sun's helping it, saying, yeah, that's right, go ahead, let's go. Because it's the biggest energy source of all. It's the ego, it's the I am part. And I am is being told that it can march forward because Mars is there cutting the weeds, cutting everything that's in front of you. But he's not able to cut as well and efficiently as he normally can because he's in a room full of pillows and imagination. There's a whole bunch of videos in there. And so his attention is being divided, and you have to be sure as you're going forward that you are understanding that this energy source you could usually count on to be, hey, let's do it. It's saying, do you think we want to, well, maybe we want to, because it's hard to hear it. It's saying, let's go forward. What did you say? I said, what? I said, let's go forward. Usually it's saying, hey, let's go, baby, hey. But right now, it's saying it, not realizing that the pillows have formed like a sound thing in the room, and you're not hearing it as well. Okay? So, normally, it is actually up to you to use the energy that is left on your doorstop. Your chart is putting all these little containers of ideas and energy and wisdom on the doorstop. It's like Amazon's leaving these packages for you. Now, what you do when you open it, this energy is there for you as part of your chart. And what you do with that is up to you. Okay? So it's all about, do you realize what each container is? And do you realize how you can mix them together? And off you go into the wild blue yonder of your life. Does that not make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Okay. It's just I'm so wildly aware. I guess because being ill has made me concentrate on awareness and what I'm picking up. It gives you a space where you dropped being into all the other stuff, and you are forced to sit in one spot and think and take in on a higher level. And so it made me super aware of the portal that we have at our disposal. You have a portal at your disposal in life anyway. It's just part of you being here. But some of us are not concentrating on certain of the uses of the portal that we have at our disposal, and you may be farting around, messing with other stuff, and not paying as much attention as you could. The very fact that you're watching and that you're here says that you want to be open to what the portal brings as potential. And so how we act as we go through it, if we go through it, because we get into the journey and we confront the opening of the portal. Now, how we step forward or dance sideways or whatever we're doing, we can bebop and stand there and look at it. It's up to us how we use it. But the potential to touch the wisdom of the universe is what's presented. The privilege of having access to someone who knows how to do that for us, the privilege of that is what we each enjoy by being here. So we're being made aware of what we have at our disposal as we approach the rest of the year, as we try to be ready for everything that comes down and is made available on our path. One of the things we can't forget about, we can't afford to forget that we know somebody who can give us a real important view of the rest of the universe. Give us access to jumping out to get more wisdom to use whatever way we choose. What Kate offers us is access. She does not tell us, and you have to use it this way or this way. That's up to us. So the more we know about who we are, the better we can decide how to use what she's making available to us. It's just that simple. She can't do any of it for us. She simply sits us directly in front of that portal to the rest of all that can be addressed. It's a view of the quantum. It's a view, like one of the reels that comes up for me all the time. He starts out, this guy, something pageant, and he starts out, I am the architect. And he speaks for all about how the universe is put together and what it is and so forth, all of the new physics and everything. It's mind-boggling. But if you listen to it often enough, you begin to understand a little bit of what he's saying. Okay, he had some kind of big trauma in life that when he came out of it, he suddenly had this awareness on this much higher level of all the physics that in the universe as they now pick it apart. All this stuff about the fact that the now is every now is happening at the same time. Well, damn, Seth was saying that 50 years ago. And no one thought anything of it because at that point they hadn't learned enough to even understand what he was talking about. Now, every other physicist on the planet is spouting all this stuff about the now and the blah, 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 and what the universe is made of resonant particles, and there's nothing solid in the whole universe. Nobody had heard any of that except the Sethis. We all got wind of that long ago. Now, we may not have known what to do with it, but we were exposed to that.
Yeah.
Okay, and we have that to use now with less opposition from others. They're not saying we're as crazy as they were saying before. They do still call us crazy, but they have adjusted what they think our craziness is. So we're in the right place. And no matter where you are, it's the right place. Ha ha ha. How about that?
I love that. Yeah. True.
Said that, and I don't know if Seth says this, but I don't think it's acceptable, but it just a thought that popped in my head with that another word for all that is now.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I
It's-
loved it. I
Mhm.
love it. I haven't
Yeah.
thought about it that way. Yes.
And I don't think that is a Seth thought. I think that it comes from the Seth teachings, and
I
that's how you
agree.
learn. Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
Martin, that is so good. I love it. It really resonates.
It
Okay.
does.
It
Yeah.
really, really, really resonates.
Definitely what you're expressing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Because that's all we can do.
Yeah.
Every now that we experience, everything we pick, it's all part of the role that all it is set up for us in the first place.
Mhm.
I love it. Ooh. All it is also now. Yes. Ooh.
Right. What else could it be?
It's great stuff. I mean, palpating or feeling around the concept of all that is, you get something different every time you try and touch the concept.
Mhm.
It opens slowly and you start to get in further and further and understand it better and better. That, Martin, was absolutely earth-shakingly clear.
Yeah.
I love it. I will be thinking about that a lot. Yeah.
This one really gets me in a good meditative state when I express that idea in my head.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Instant meditation.
Nice.
Yes, exactly. And that's
Yeah.
a whole other concept, instant meditation. I'm
Yeah.
going through that now where when stuff is coming into me, it takes less than 2 seconds to be at the same level I achieved during the journey.
Yeah.
But it seems to happen spontaneously now.
Mhm.
Bam, there, and something is downloaded real quick, and then you go on about, suddenly you're back and you're doing whatever you were doing. But bam, it comes again, and it just appears in your head.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Can't wait to see what you cooked up for us today.
Well, we can move on to that if people are ready.